My grandpa was named Ambrose Finnegan. At his kitchen table, I learned. I used to say, Joey, nobody's better than you, but you're no better than anybody else. Maybe it's the Scranton in me. I got a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, worried about whether they can make next month's mortgage payment. Well, it is what it is because he is who he is. That's why it is what it is. He is who he is. You know, remember when he went on, he decided he was going to convince Bob Woodward what a smart guy he was. So he went on, yeah, smart guy. I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure, isolate, and punish China. Folks, true international effort to pressure, isolate, and punish China. Donald Trump thinks health care. Well, I'm sick and tired of smart guys. I gotta admit, this is all within our power. This is all within our power. But we're getting there, man. Hang on. Hang on. To send every single person qualified to community college free. To community college free. And if I keep going, you're going to freeze your fingers off. It wasn't. Donald Trump had to deliver on a damn thing he said he'd do.
You are listening to AJ Noise, and this is the Morning Flyby.
Wow. Did you hear that? That bag of cliches? Huh? Even though they sounded like they were coming out of a drunk old man in a corner. That could possibly be the next president of the United States. Yes, indeed. I don't even understand that garbled mess. I'm glad somebody does. Welcome. Good morning. You're listening to 8 Jet Noise. This is the Morning Flyby. I'm going to cover a couple of topics. But before we do, I'd like to suggest that you go to Ada Jet Noise on Facebook. ADA Jet Noise. Like my page. Get notifications. Watch my videos. Get news updates. All the good stuff that I like playing with in the real world. Or you can go to Parler, follow me on Parler, Ada Jet Noise on Parler, or to YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, Ada Jet Noise, or Morning Flyby on YouTube. Again, ADA Jet Noise. On Facebook, Parler, YouTube. You could even harass me on Twitter. Again, Ada Jet Noise, ADA Jet Noise. Yeah, that's the guy that could possibly be the president of the United States. Right now, the numbers are actually in his favor. They're not dramatically in his favor, but indeed they are in his favor. There's a few polls showing differently. What is happening, though, is that the gap is changing dramatically, and part of it could have something to do with what's happening on Google. What's trending on Google is the phrase, "Can I change my vote?" Can I change my vote? It says more than 59 million Americans have already cast their vote. Their ballots ahead of according to Election Day. But Google is indeed trending with "Can I change my vote?" And it come to find out that you can change your vote. There is some stipulations. Not everyone does it the same way. Probably the scariest way that it is handled is probably in New York. Now, I don't think they fully explained it, but from the sound of it in New York, it sounded like if you cast your ballot and you didn't like it, then you can just go to the polling place and just put in another ballot. Again, they didn't really go into details, but that sounds really scary. You just go in and you just change your ballot, because it's now at that point. Now it sounds like you've got two different ballots, and where does that go? But some of them go into more detail. Like in Michigan, you can submit a written signed request to the voting clerk, requesting to have the ballot nullified, and then you would go in and you would go to the polling place, and then you would cast that vote. Minnesotans who mailed in their absentee ballot had until October 20th to request a new ballot. So that time is gone. But if you did feel like you wanted to change your mind, you certainly could have. Probably the most bizarre, to me, the most bizarre place that the trend question, can I change my vote, is coming from, the region that it's coming from, would be in the Delaware region. That seemed to be a hot topic in Delaware. It's bizarre because that's exactly where Joseph Robinette Biden has been serving for years. And all of a sudden, the Delaware faithful seem to want to change their vote. Now, it's not making clear as to why they want to change their vote or which direction they want to change their vote. But it seems a little strange that Delaware has people that want to change their vote, specifically because, again, Biden is their homeboy, right? So, and other regions, other sub-regions, including battleground states such as Maine, Pennsylvania, Florida, Ohio, Michigan, North Carolina, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Arizona, all are trending, can I change my vote? Now, the irony about those particular places is that those are all places that Trump frequents for his rallies. He's been frequenting his rallies, and the rallies and the parades and all have actually grown exponentially for Trump. The sizes of these rallies, you're talking about anywhere from 20,000 to 30,000 people. I think yesterday he was in Nebraska, and 30,000 people showed up. And it's funny because, like, the next day, someone will always call some of the alternative media sources, and they'll be like, yeah, I was there, but I couldn't get in. And there was the 20 or 30,000 people that you see are actually in front of the camera. Behind the cameras, they always mention of the people that were behind the cameras. And there's usually 10 to 15,000 people that couldn't make it into the venue outside of the venue. They want to be there. So it is a phenomenon. Right now, the biggest, Trump is the concert season in 2020. I mean, there's no concerts going on. Coronavirus, games, professional or college, they're limited fans. So right now, the biggest crowds are the Trump rallies. It's an incredible thing to see. So after the debate, along with these rallies, Biden sticking his foot in his mouth by saying, he's going to get rid of fossil fuels. Nobody wants that, but he can't deny it, and that's exactly what is on the table. It's exactly one of the things that's on the table is fossil fuels. As soon as and the Hunter Biden laptop, the bizarre stories that are coming out of that family, especially coming from this laptop, is enough to get people a little queasy. So you could see where they'd want to change their vote. Again, it's not telling you who they're voting for, or which side they're switching to. But according to the poll numbers, things are changing. Biden might have a lead in certain areas, but the gap is getting very, very small fairly quickly. Fairly quickly. So we can assume that the trending phrase or question, can I change my vote, is actually going in favor of the incumbent. Philly on fire. Philly on fire. At least 91 people have been arrested for looting, vandalism, and other crimes related to the civil unrest of a Philadelphia shooting, police shooting of one Walter Wallace. Apparently, Walter Wallace, well, allegedly, was suffering some sort of mental breakdown, a mental health issue, and Wallace, being black, was wielding a knife at officers, two officers. We can assume that the officers are white. I saw the video. One of them did. Your first impression would be white. The other one couldn't quite tell, Hispanic or what have you. But both of them did have light skin. Both of them looked white. I know that shouldn't be an issue, especially when you actually see the video. You see Wallace actually approaching the officers, and it obviously the police were called because Wallace was having an issue I'm assuming at his home in the neighborhood. We can assume that he lived in his mom, Wallace's mom. As Wallace would approach the officers with the knife in hand, Wallace's mom was actually hanging on to him, trying to intercept, but Wallace was completely ignoring his mother. It was kind of barreling over her at the time, and you see Wallace was able to kind of get between the two officers, and in other words, split the two officers, and he followed one that actually went around a car. So he went around the back and then came back around through the front. So Wallace, just determined, devil's look in his eye, carrying a knife, coming at the officers, followed him again from the back of that car to the front of that car. There was a gentleman that was in between the two parked cars. So from the car, he was at the tail end of the car that they went around. He was you can see he kind of did not want to be involved. So he was basically a witness and an onlooker. The video, by the way, by another onlooker. At that point, it was long gone by that it went from tense to dangerous. So by the time you see the video start, they were already at dangerous. Again, Wallace following these police officers, the police officers barking orders, they pull their guns, but they never fire the entire time. Why? Because there's people either behind him, his mother hanging on to him, or people beside him the entire time. Until the officer and Wallace made it around that car. The officer was able to get side by side with his partner, and Wallace came from around the car and was now in the middle of the street, roughly around 12 to 15 feet away. Even me, in the condition I'm in, hubba bubba, within less than a second, I can close the gap if I want to harm someone of 12 to 15 feet. Wallace had a knife. He was determined not to give in to the officers. The situation, again, from tense to dangerous. At that point, it's already been there. It was going to end badly no matter what. When Wallace got into the middle of the street, he was now on an island. There was nobody behind him. There was no one beside him, and his mother was not hanging on to him. The officers took him down. It was that, or he was going to harm someone. And at that point, the officers were the main target. Now, let's just say some ridiculous reason the officers go away because they're like, I don't want to shoot anybody. So the officers go away. Wallace was going to harm someone. He was in a situation where he was probably going to harm someone in the first place. That's why they called the police on him. Wallace was going to harm someone. He needed to be taken down. The taser thing that works, less than 50% of the time at this point, especially when somebody's at that level that Wallace was at. If you watch this video, there was no taser situation at that point. And for all we know, they probably tried to use the taser earlier because, again, it's only about a minute and a half, and they've already reached the level of where Wallace is snapped, where his life now means less than actually going to jail. So there's where they're at. So they brought him down. They brought him down, and now Philadelphia's on fire. The city's on fire. Again, martyring a criminal. Part of that was 11 people were arrested for assaulting police, 76 were charged with commercial burglary, and 3 were arrested for for failing to disperse. It says the police spokesman said that the criminal activity was not part of the protest and did not serve any legitimate purpose. When are we going to grow up? Name one of these police protests, specifically in this year, but name one of the protests, the peaceful protests on police that hasn't ended in looting, arson, destruction, people getting hurt, even death. Name one. These protests inspire these criminal activities. And until, we hear people talking about how they don't deserve to be treated the way they feel the police are treating them. But meanwhile, they act in a way that they need to be treated in the way they feel that the police are treating them. How are we coming to any sort of conclusion when you're tearing down your city, you're taking away your resources, you're just being a genuine you're just being a bad citizen. I'm just going to put it that way. You're not protecting each other. You're not looking out for each other. You're being an opportunist. The point is not getting across. If anybody's making a point, and I'll say the day-night people. The day people are usually the people that come out and they're actually angry at the situation. Whether they're right or wrong, they're actually angry at the situation. So they come out and they say, police bad, police bad, police bad, police bad. Why'd you kill that brother? Why'd you kill that brother? Meanwhile, the night people, those are the ones that break the windows, go into the Foot Lockers, the Walmarts, the Targets. In this case, they broke into a Chick-fil-A. A Chick-fil-A? I know the mac and cheese is good, bro. But that's not it. Meanwhile, Biden's saying that the whole thing is a cry for help, a cry for justice. That's what he called it, cry for justice. Biden need not talk because much of the situations that the black communities are in, where Biden was a part of putting those people in that particular situation. Biden was good for calling these people super predators, saying that he didn't want his kids to this, when speaking of segregation, didn't want his kids to be part of a jungle. His kids to be a part of a jungle. You know, in the N word. I mean, he had no problem using it on the Senate floor. None. None. So, Biden, speaking of a cry for justice, is all just cliche. Don't waste our time. Don't waste our time, man. FISA sticking it to the hoe. FISA sticking it to the hoe. Federal investigators obtained a Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act warrant for Chi-Ping Patrick Ho, suggesting that the executive was suspected of acting as a covert agent of a foreign government. Spy boy. Prosecutors revealed the existence of at least one FISA warrant against Chi-Ping Patrick Ho. Ho was charged with conspiracy to violate the Foreign Corrupt Practice Act and money laundering related to CEFC, China energy contracts in Uganda and Chad. Side note, if you have not heard or you do not know just period of what's happening between China and Africa, you need to pay attention. You really need to pay attention, because China is buying up Africa fast. Africa is in a situation and they're being blindsided. They do not see this. African government, why do they care? China can just give them money and what have you. Uganda, Chad, Ethiopia, whatever. Those particular countries, they don't care. All they care is about riches. And it's happening. And China is making a massive move. And the way they're building in Africa, in Uganda and Chad, the way they're building there, and the people that they've got people moving into Africa. And you want us to be, passive with China? It's a bad, bad mistake. Why is this story important about Chi-Ping Patrick Ho being a spy? Well, Biden, of course. Indeed, Hunter Biden was part of a business consortium that sought partnership with CEFC in May 2017. A Senate report released last month said that an affiliate of CEFC wired $5 million to the Biden law firm from August 2017 through August 2018. A spy working with Biden. Now, I'm not sure who's the biggest hoe, Chi-Ping Patrick or Hunter. Interesting. U.S. Marshals in Ohio rescued 45 missing children and 109 additional human trafficking survivors during Operation Autumn Hope. Ohio Attorney General David Yost tweeted, "Our human trafficking task force, that's local law enforcement and teaming up with the state, conducted a massive statewide sting last week. Operation Autumn Hope is the largest single human trafficking operation in state history. Our goal in Ohio, where no human is bought or sold." You may have an issue with Governor DeWine because of the whole coronavirus action. The guy means well. I personally don't think that he can save lives. I don't think this is a life-saving situation. I think that's what he wants to do, and I genuinely believe he means well. But he's in a situation with this that I'm not going to say he's in over his head. He was never in it. But he means well on this. But as far as them taking on human trafficking between the Attorney General Yost and DeWine's decisions as far as taking on this human trafficking, I am very proud. I'm very proud of Ohio and its leadership on doing this. Human trafficking is a massive problem, and it's incredibly massive problem here in Ohio. A lot of people do not recognize that. It was, I believe, in August. Was it August, where they had two stings, and I think almost like 50 children were rescued. Um, I'd have to look that one back up, but yeah, they've been doing this this year. They are attacking these human traffickers, and it's and rightfully so. Yost said 76 missing exploited children cases were cleared, including 45 by physical recovery by U.S. Marshals Services. Marshals from southern Ohio and southern West Virginia were involved with the operation. Thank you, West Virginia, for helping us on this, according to a statement from the U.S. Marshals offices. The operation was carried out with support by National Center for Missing Exploited Children. Thank you, White House. Thank you, President Trump, for putting together such an amazing team. A statement by the Ohio Attorney General's office listed dozens of additional agencies that contributed to the operation, and thanks to all of those people for helping out. A total of 179 arrests were made on a slew of charges. Yost said the operation focused on these main points: rescuing victims of human trafficking and referring them to the social services, recovering missing and exploited children, apprehending those seeking to have sex with minors, and arresting male Johns seeking to buy sex. Again, thanks and kudos to Attorney General Ohio David Yost and Mike DeWine and all of the U.S. Marshals and anyone involved with trying to bring an end to human trafficking and the exploitation of children, as well as adults. It is a massive problem. A massive problem. Slavery, again, is far bigger now than it has ever been in the history of the world combined. And the ones suffering the most are our children. And sex seems to be the number one reason as to why these kids are being pulled in. If it's not the number one reason, damn it sure is the one that hurts the most. And on a lighter note, excuse my rant, Jessica Yaniv. Jessica Yaniv. You'll remember Jessica Yaniv as the story goes on. Filed a human rights complaint against Canada Galaxy pageants after not being selected by the female-only pageant because Jessica has a pee-pee. Jessica filed a complaint with the Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario this week, alleging discrimination based on a gender identity, gender expression, and sex in violation of Ontario Human Rights Code. Yaniv reportedly seeking $10,000 in damages for injury to dignity and feelings. Whoa, feelings. And is requesting the tribunal rule that no organization can turn someone away solely because they have the old meat and potatoes in a to-go container. Some of you, this is where you'll start to recognize Jessica Yaniv. Jessica Yaniv was the transgender person that wanted to sue a lady spa because the lady employee, look at me, assuming identity. You can see the shock therapy and the re-education camp just around the corner. Anyway, Yaniv wanted to sue the ladies' spa because the spa employee Um, well, let me add this additional thing. Jessica Yaniv wanted a bikini wax, and there's certain areas that you have to touch to get a bikini wax. And if you're transgender, chances are those areas are not going to be the same as if you were not a transgender woman. So Jessica wanted to sue the lady spa because the employee, we're going to assume she's a natural woman, did not want to touch Jessica's twig and berries. In order to give the transgender woman her bikini wax, or a bikini wax. Let me put it to you this way. Jessica Yaniv was trying to enter a beauty pageant, and hence the Canada Galaxy pageants thing. If you haven't seen Jessica Yaniv, look, picture this. You take me to a plus-size woman's store that has makeup, and give me an hour. Give me an hour by myself, and let me pick out an outfit, and give me some just a few minutes at the makeup wall, and the Canada Galaxy pageants would probably pick me to be in their pageant before they pick Jessica Yaniv. This is what we're talking about as far as beauty pageant contestant. That was it. That's all I got. I'm glad you gave me a few minutes of your time. Again, find me on Facebook. Like me, Jet Noise on Facebook. Like my page. Feel free to tap in. What's cool about this particular program is that you don't have to sit in front of your computer. You don't have to look at this. You don't have to look at this at all. You can just turn it on and walk away and listen in the background. You can have your coffee. You can get dressed. Don't turn me towards you getting dressed, because that would just be weird. You drive in your car, just listen to me through your speakers. You can Bluetooth me, baby. Just Bluetooth me. Put me in your ears and walk away. And just tap into what I have to say, as opposed to, again, looking at this. Parler. Jet Noise on Parler. Follow me on Parler. Subscribe on YouTube. Go to YouTube, Ada Jet Noise, or Morning Flyby. Ada Jet Noise, ADA Jet Noise. On YouTube, subscribe. Show them that you love me. That was the Morning Flyby. This is Ada Jet Noise. Until then, big hug. Be good. Be still. Enjoy your life.